Did you know that this movie shares a slight similarity with The Princess Bride? In The Princess Bride, Gilder is the name of the country that Prince Humperdinck wants to start a war with. In Damsel, Aria is the country of the antagonist. Both names roughly mean golden in Dutch and Latin. So I just saw Damsel, the newly released movie from Netflix starring Millie Bobby Brown. I actually found it to be quite an enjoyable fantasy movie, a heroine movie, and I have 3 reasons why I like this movie, and the last one is definitely my favorite. So the first reason I like this movie is I thought it was actually a pretty good story. A couple of nice little twists in there. Not expecting the main heroine to be the sacrifice was a pretty big story twist right away. And then just her figuring stuff out and just the crazy things she had to encounter in the cave. All the women went before her, all of their stories, and she's like taking on this huge mantle of the women who came before her, and she wants to be the one that makes it out. You know, she has to find within herself that heroine that the audience needs her to be, but also the hero that all the women who were sacrificed before her needed her to be. And just the whole story of just all the manipulation and just the great characters. Robin Wright plays a fantastic villain in this movie. She's always been pretty good at playing kind of like the antagonist, kind of person you just don't like. You just want the character like hers to pay in the end. I mean, it was a typical fantasy movie, you know, you would expect some twists here. Of course, there's a dragon because you can't have a fantasy movie without a dragon. And of course, there's, you know, always that finding the inner strength and the inner courage to continue to keep pushing forward. But the way it was told, it was a really interesting way of telling the story. There are actually some points in the movie, there was actually some pretty good suspense and tension, especially when Elodie's trying to hide from the dragon and she's discovering all these different things in the cave. And there's one part in the movie where she's hanging off the edge of a cliff and she's got a little knife, and the knife is the only thing that's keeping her alive. And so she's climbing up this cave as much as she can, you know, and she keeps slipping back, she keeps going forward. Just the perseverance, but like the tension it gives you, like you're in the cave with her and you want her to succeed, you want her to get out. And then this dragon has a lot of good suspense too. It just comes out of nowhere. It's got a really creepy voice, but also like when Elodie gets to certain parts in the movie, certain parts in the cave, you think she's there, and then there's something else. She just can't seem to catch a break. The tension, suspense is growing higher and higher because you know that eventually the dragon's going to catch up with her. To fully immerse yourself in a movie like this, just put yourself in the shoes of Elodie and you will find a lot of enjoyment out of this movie, because it definitely got my heart racing a little bit in certain times in the movie. And then my last reason, my favorite reason, I loved the dragon in this movie. I thought the dragon looked really great in terms of CGI, really well done. The voice is really awesome too. This dragon gave me Smaug vibes like the entire time, mainly because most dragons you see in movies don't talk, so it makes the dragon special right away. But just like how it has all these conversations with Elodie and kind of is manipulative, you know, that it reminds me a lot of Smaug when he was talking to Bilbo Baggins, you know, and Bilbo was trying to get out the same way that Elodie was and trying to trick the dragon and all that. But this dragon had a little bit more going on for her. You felt bad for the dragon in this movie, and I think that was one thing that really like cemented the movie at the very end, was just how much you actually were rooting for the dragon and Elodie. Originally you were just rooting for Elodie because of course you want Elodie to kill the dragon, because that's what we all want out of a heroine. I always cheer for the bad guy anyways. This dragon gave me a lot more reasons to cheer for her, and just the ending was awesome. Just a really great build up and deliverance on this really good movie. I mean, I would highly encourage you to check this movie out if you're into fantasy movies. This is one of those movies where you can just sit back and enjoy it, but it's a good enjoyment. So I highly recommend check this movie out as soon as you possibly can. It is on Netflix right now. So for Damsel, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below. What is your favorite fantasy movie? See you next time.